The whole issue about immigration has never ceased to be controversial in the UK. It is always a very recurrent topic in government circles, but now it has gone to a whole new level, where immigrants are allegedly positioning themselves as gay to obtain legal stay in the UK. In this episode of my briefing, I will look at the issue of seeking asylum in the UK or anywhere in the world on the basis of being gay or being in a same-sex relationship. We will look at asylum claims based on sexual orientation, how the law actually works, and what this means specifically for Nigerians. Welcome to Factual Briefing, where we break down money, migration, and positioning with clarity, no hype. Recently, a BBC undercover investigation revealed something very serious. A network of advisors and legal actors allegedly helping migrants fabricate asylum claims. People were being coached on what to say, given fake supporting evidence, and even instructed to pretend to be in same-sex relationships, all for the purpose of claiming asylum in the UK. Now, if true, this is not just unethical, it is also fraud. But at the same time, we must be very careful not to confuse this issue, because there are people who genuinely qualify for asylum on this ground. So let's be very clear. Yes, sexual orientation can be a valid ground for asylum in the UK, Europe, US, Canada, and any other country that is a signatory to the Geneva Convention of 1951 on the status of a refugee. This is not a loophole. This is established law. The asylum system everywhere in the world, including the UK, exists to protect people who face persecution, violence, or serious harm because of who they are. And that includes sexual orientation. Because of who you love, how you love, who you are married to, whether you are in a same-sex relationship. Now, let's bring this discussion home. In Nigeria, same-sex relationships are criminalized under the Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, signed into law on the 7th of January 2014. At the time, Western governments, including the UK and the United States, strongly criticized this law. But today, the consequences remain very real. Engaging in same-sex relationship in Nigeria can lead to imprisonment, harassment, and social violence. But in reality, it often goes beyond the law, because beyond legislation, there is the lived experience. In Nigeria today, being openly gay is not just illegal in many cases, it is also very dangerous. There is no legal protection for LGBT individuals, which means no safety net, no anti-discrimination protection, no guaranteed access to justice in any shape or form. And in many cases, the law is used not just for punishment, but for targeting. There are documented patterns of arbitrary arrest, police profiling, extortion, and physical abuse. Security agencies have been reported to identify suspected individuals, detain them, and in some cases, exploit or assault them. These are available online. Do your research and you find that everything I'm saying is exactly what it is. There is also a known system locally referred to as keto, where individuals are lured into traps, exposed or threatened with exposure, and blackmailed, often resulting in financial extortion, physical harm, or forced silence. And in many cases, victims cannot report these crimes, because doing so will eventually expose them to prosecution themselves. Beyond legal risk, there is overwhelming societal hostility. Data consistently shows that over 90% of Nigerians do not accept homosexuality in any shape or form. This leads to public aggression, family rejection, community exclusion, and in some cases, it leads to mob violence, public humiliation, and physical assault on victims or people who have been associated with same-sex relationship. Under criminal law, same-sex unions are illegal. Public displays are criminalized. LGBTQ gatherings are prohibited. Even in attending meetings, supporting organizations can attract up to 10 years imprisonment. In parts of northern Nigeria, under Sharia law, punishment can extend to death by stoning. Even where rarely enforced anyway, the existence of such laws creates credible fear in the mind of people who are in this category. So for many individuals affected by this law, living openly is not an option because being identified can lead to job loss, eviction from apartments where you live, denial of healthcare, social isolation. This is why when a person claims asylum based on sexual orientation, the issue is not preference, it is not lifestyle, it is risk, it is safety, it is survival. So yes, a Nigerian who is genuinely LGBTQ may have a legitimate basis for asylum abroad, irrespective of what country, in the UK, in the US, in Canada, in Europe, or in any part of the Western world. Any Nigerian who is genuinely in a same-sex relationship, any Nigerian who is genuinely LGBTQ can and is entitled under the law to seek asylum on the basis of this. However, here is the catch. It becomes more complex when fraud is in the mix. Because while this is a legitimate ground, there is also concern about how it is being used. Where it goes wrong is when individuals begin to fabricate identity, rehearse false accounts, or create false evidence. At that point, it becomes a question of credibility. And in asylum law, credibility is everything. When false claims increase, the system responds, not emotionally, but structurally. Scrutiny increases, assessments become stricter, and genuine applicants suffer because real cases may then face delays, deeper questioning, or outright refusal. As has been noticed by practitioners in this area, it becomes harder to prove something that is already difficult to evidence because unlike other claims, sexual orientation is not something that can be easily verified through documents alone. So let's answer the question clearly. Can being gay get you asylum abroad, whether in the UK, US, Europe, Canada, or anywhere abroad? The answer is a clear yes, but only if it is genuine and if there is a real risk. But no, if it is constructed, because the system is not designed to reward stories. It is designed to assess credibility and risk. And there is one more thing. You must understand, the global immigration system is changing. Countries are tightening enforcement. And increasingly, failed asylum seekers are being returned back home. We are now seeing bilateral cooperation between the UK and countries like Nigeria, making it easier to deport individuals whose claims are unsuccessful. So the risk is not just refusal. The risk goes further to expose you to easier and faster deportation from the UK or from any Western world where you are seeking asylum. This episode is not about telling anyone what to do. It is about understanding how the system actually works and where you truly stand within it. Because in situations like this, the difference between protection and manipulation is not just technical, it is decisive. This is Factual Briefing, where we analyze systems so you can position yourself correctly within them.